Arknights needs an easy mode. As someone who has spent countless amount of money and time in Arknights, I feel the game overall is just too hard, especially at the later levels. And honestly, this rise in difficulty really detracts from my gaming experience. And to be clear, I've really felt this sentiment for a while now. I'm only making this video now as the newly released Chapter 9 stages has reminded me that this game's difficulty is often too much to even bother with. Many of us either do not have the time nor patience to replay and lose to the same stage over and over and over again all day. And let's be honest here, most people that play Arknights are just playing for waifu collecting and its lore. The tower defense minigame they implemented is often just too much of a hassle to bother with. And nothing is more frustrating than whaling a good chunk of change for an operator only to lose to the very next stage using said operator. It just really gives you the feeling that the game is scamming you of both your money and time, and yeah, it just does not put you in a good mood. There's a reason why the most viewed Arknights YouTube videos are stage guides, and the most subscribed to Arknight channels post these guides. Speaking for myself, I would've uninstalled this game long ago if not for the effort of other YouTubers like EchoGen or KaiStanV. Most players just don't care to lose to the same stage for hours, so watching a guide can save a little bit of time, but even that has its limits as often a guide is not easily reproducible. Really, this is just a classic case of broken game design, and it's absolutely absurd that it's up to KaiStanV to fix it. And it really baffles me how stubborn Hyperglyph is in just not implementing some sort of easy mode into their game. And it's annoying because Hyperglyph does such a great job in so many other areas. With this new Chapter 9 update, I'm really enjoying the story cutscenes. I feel like they're as good as they've ever been. But now I'm currently stuck on stage 910, and it's just so annoying since I really wanted to see what happens next in the story, but because the game is too difficult, I'm blocked from doing so. There's just some weird bullshit mechanic on the stage that I don't think I'm fully understanding yet, but I will eventually. And by the time I do beat the stage, which will probably be a couple days from now, I will have completely forgotten the previous cutscenes I read. The stages taking longer and longer to complete just totally throws you off from being immersed in the story and its pacing, and it's just annoying. If you ever taken a break from watching a show or reading a book, it's basically that feeling. And I know some people may be thinking that perhaps I'm having these complaints because my Arknights account isn't up to snuff, but I assure you that's not the case. I have a pretty powerful Arknights account, as I've been playing for around over a year now. It's not the best account in the world, but I do possess and I have leveled up many powerful operators like Surtur, Silverash, Nian, and Swire, just to name a few at the top of my head. And I spent a little bit of real life money on this game as well, probably about $9,000, which puts me probably slightly above the average player, I would say, from my understanding. So my Arknights account should definitely be able to beat a stage claiming it only requires E1 level 45 operators is my point. And I just can't do it. Well, can't do it easily. Eventually I will be able to beat the stage. And whenever I do eventually beat a difficult stage in Arknights, I never feel satisfied. I more or less just do every possible permutation in my team lineup until something randomly works, so beating the stage just feels like a mathematically inevitability for me. It just so happens that the operators I chose and how I placed them for that particular run happened to beat the stage for me, which by the basic laws of probability is bound to happen eventually. So I'm basically never impressed with myself upon completing a stage, but instead I'm thinking, glad that's over with, how many more of these are there that I have to do now? And I do know that a vocal minority of the Arknights player base will just not agree with my takes here. These players are more of the traditional tower defense aficionados, and they actually want the game to get harder oftentimes. And if you group yourself as one of those players, I would just remind you that the tower defense genre is very niche, and most gamers do not enjoy it. The only reason Arknights is as successful as it is because it's broken more out of that genre by being a good waifu collecting game and having good lore. So the vast majority of us, I feel, would just implement for an easy mode if it were to be implemented. And if you don't like the idea of an easy mode in the game, just don't choose it and have fun replaying the same stage over and over again, I suppose.